patterns. Have you ever taken the time to consider what thought patterns you have? Would you say that they're predominantly more positive, or would you say they're maybe a little bit more negative? Did you know that we actually have 7 different types of toxic thought patterns? Hello, I'm Caterina Smillie and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, it's great to have you. If you're returning, it's good to see you again. Today, what we're going to discuss, and the topic is all about thought patterns and the 7 different types of toxic thought patterns that we have. Did you actually know that there were 7? So let's jump into today's topic and let's hit off with the first one, which is to dismiss the positive. How many times have you done things and that you may have had a slight mistake? I don't like the word failure. And you've had plenty of positives. However, your focus goes straight to that one negative. You dismiss the positive. You don't even really want to acknowledge it. What does that actually do to self when that happens and we're in that thought process? Doesn't serve us very well at all. So let's jump into number 2. We jump to conclusions. How many times have you jumped to a conclusion only to find out that we weren't quite right? It's so important that you're aware of that thought pattern, and when you're in it, rather than just jump to a conclusion, get the evidence, get the proof. Don't allow your thoughts to keep going in and keep assuming. Oops, I've given you one away. Assumptions. To assume. It is different to a conclusion, because a conclusion is guessing the outcome. And assume is you're assuming it could be the beginning, the middle, whatever. How many times do you go into that thought pattern of assumption? I'm going to say that is one of the biggest thought patterns that most of you, more than likely, will have. Because with relationships in itself, there are so many assumptions. So take the moment and really sit with yourself and go, how often do I assume things? How often do I actually just guess and don't really have the facts or the truth? Yeah? The should statement. How many of you say, I should do that, I should do this, I have to do that? No different. It's just a different word, but it implies the same thing. It's still the same thought pattern. Because did you know that the word should means obligation? When we say, I should do that, we are actually telling self that we obligated ourselves to take that action and we didn't. So guess what happens? We carry guilt from that one statement, because the word should means obligated, which then gives an emotion of feeling bad because we didn't. So now can you see how a thought pattern and I should impacts our emotional state of being? I hope I've given you that practical tool, and this is where I'm going to be headed over the next few days, is the importance of the language that we use, the vocabulary, the words that we use, and how those words can specific words can emotionally impact us, such as the word should. Labeling. How many times have you maybe had, I'll use your language, a failure? You failed at something and you've labeled your whole self as that failure. You failed, you didn't succeed at business. I'm an idiot. I'm dumb. I'm not a business person. You have labeled your whole self by that one failure. That's the thought pattern that you had. So in essence, what just by having that label of self holds you back from stepping forward and doing something else you really want to do in life. Be mindful of what labels you're attaching to self, because that's a very toxic thought pattern, and extremely. The next one. Are you an all or a nothing kind of person? Is that your thought pattern? It's either all or nothing. That's it. That's a toxic thought pattern. Where's the balance? There's no balance. So identify what things that you've applied that all or nothing thought pattern to. How has that impacted you moving forward? Take some time. Another toxic thought pattern is blame. How many things that have happened in your life that you may have blamed others? And by blaming, it means we stop ourselves from being accountable. And as you know from my previous videos, to be accountable means that we have the ability to bring something in, to learn and grow from it. But if we are busy in the thought patterns of blaming everything else, somebody, something, the world, the external world, how then does that assist you to move forward? So what things in your life with the thought pattern of blame has held you back? Last but not least, number 7, storytelling. How many times have your thought patterns created a story, sometimes to the point of a theatrical production, and it's taken you out with such toxicity that sometimes it can even affect your health? How many times have you picked up that you've gone, oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be so worse. I thought this was going to happen. I thought that was going to happen. But because you created this story around one little, it could have even been something you overheard. It could have been a conversation you had. And you created a story. So the toxic thought pattern of storytelling. Yeah? And that in essence sort of can tie in with assumption and also conclusions. But storytelling in itself is not an assumption. You've created something that feels so real. It could be about self, which is keeping you in your comfort zone, that you say, I can't do this, I can't do that. They're all storytelling. Because if you sat and really asked yourself, well, if I did training, I lost my fear and I didn't have this and I could do that, would I be able to do it? More than likely, yes. But because of your thought patterns, they're so toxic, you've created this story and you've bought into it. Now, please know that to really become the manager of your thoughts, it takes a lot of time and practice. And hell, sometimes my thoughts still take me out. Absolutely. Storytelling, assume. Yeah. Because it's a continuous journey. It's something that we have 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Scientifically proven that 80% of them are negative. So is it not surprising then that it's a continuous journey to manage your thoughts? However, when you're aware of the different thought patterns and own and go, you know what? If I'm really truthful with myself, the thoughts that go on in my head most of the day, toxic, negative. Now I'm not enjoying that. What am I going to do to change it? What can I implement? Some tools till it becomes a habit. I am aware. The 80% that's scientifically proven is not for 100% of people. I believe that I am now in the minority. And it takes practice, practice, practice. And still I pull myself up, but you can pull yourself up so much faster when you're aware of the thought patterns, because some of you may not even be aware that there are different thought patterns. And you may not have even gone as far as to say, you know what? What is my overall thought pattern, negative or positive? Yeah? Toxic or safe? Whichever words. I like positive and negative. It's very easy. Is that maybe why I feel the way I do? Because most of my thoughts are negative. And so today you can identify it and own it and go, you know what? I'm going to become more consciously aware. I'm going to shift it. Because maybe that's not why I'm getting a promotion. Maybe that's why my relationship is struggling. Maybe that's why my trading is struggling. We're not just struggling for no reason. It's time to awaken yourself and really get to know who you are and know how you're wired, how you're ticked. Things that tick you. Be aware of your thoughts. Be aware of your emotions. Get that intelligence. That's the most valuable asset to self that you can have. Is your mindset and your emotional management. Meaning your thoughts. Imagine if you could manage your thoughts so your thoughts no longer manage you. Whoop! What can you achieve? Where could you be right now? I absolutely will own I would be so much further in my journey if all of my thoughts didn't take me out back years ago, like they don't anymore. Because if I have a fear, it's like I'm going to jump that hurdle. I'm not going to let that fear overcome me. And it takes practice. And still there's a lot of self-talk going on when there's a fear that presents itself. And that's okay. So I hope that you gained something little from today's video. And I want to thank you for spending your time with me, as I respect your time is valuable. I do hope that you got value out of this video. And if you did, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. Also click on the notifications bell so you'll be notified when I upload tomorrow's Cat's Message of the Day. Remember, you matter. You matter. You are your most valuable asset, so invest in you. Go out and live your best life. Be the version of you want to be. Achieve the goals you want to achieve. Don't allow your thought patterns to take you out. Because as you know, I always say, this is not truth. So for today, take care of you.